Hello everybody and welcome to a patch rundown for the Seekers of the Storm DLC for Risk of Rain 2. I played the DLC for about 7.5 hours now and I can dissect these patch notes a little better for you. So 3 new survivors: the Seeker, which you get automatically, no unlock required; Chef, I have an unlock video, link in the description below if you'd like to see it. It's very easy. And then finally, the Secret Survivor. This is the False Sun himself. So the boss is the False Sun. And then after you kill the boss under certain criteria, I won't spoil it right here. If you want it spoiled, here we go. We're going to spoil it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You unlock the False Sun playable character by having the Halcyon Seed in your inventory, Aurelionite, and then killing the boss with any survivor. It doesn't matter. Just have the Halcyon Seed in your inventory. So that means you have to take a gold portal, kill Aurelionite, get the Halcyon Seed, then go to the green portal, finish the 3 stages, kill the False Sun. And once you have both, you will unlock the playable False Sun. And if you're struggling guaranteeing a gold portal, that's definitely the hardest part. Take blue portals. Honestly, take a blue portal and then go to the back by the Seer, or by the Newt, and then there are the 2 Lunar Seer portals you can guarantee. It's a pretty good chance to get a gold portal in there. So that's the easiest way to do it. Otherwise, it's the gold altar, which is pretty rare. So that is the False Sun as 3rd survivor. Out of these 3, my favorite is probably the Seeker. She's really smooth, actually. They're probably all a little low on damage, personally. I'll have to play them a lot more. Obviously, this is the end of day 1. But they're all a little low on damage. But Seeker is the most polished and the most fun. Chef is pretty lackluster, in my opinion. He's not amazing, but he's fine. And I actually quite like the False Sun. His animations are a bit wonky. He's a bit undercooked compared to the other survivors, in my opinion, animation-wise. But his gameplay is not terrible. There are a few changes I like to see. But anyway, those are my opinions on 3 survivors. There you go. All right, the 5 new stages here. Some of these are just regular. Shattered Abodes, for example, is a stage 1 tile set. You can just reset until you get it. And then some of these are from the green portal. I believe these 3 are probably from the green portal. Maybe this one. I think this one, actually. This is the Prime Meridian, is the secret stage here. So this is the final stage of the green portal where you fight the False Sun. Helmet Hatchery, I believe, is like a stage 5 tile set. This is a bunch of lava everywhere. This one's actually really cool. I love that stage. All the stages are excellent, by the way. There's a lot of verticality in some of them, and it's kind of hard to see the items. They're obscured by all the stuff that's on the stage, but the visuals of the stage, very good. And the only stage with really annoying enemies, honestly, is Helmet Hatchery. The rest of them are fine. The stage variants, I don't think I've seen these yet. I don't think I've seen a single one of the stage variants, so I can't really talk about those. Bulwarks Ambry, they're just different layouts to the artifact portal. It's exactly the same function. They're just different layouts. I had the Wisp Research one. It was quite eventful, we'll say. So that's just the new artifact portal variants. All right, for the 5 new interactables, the Halcyon Shrine. This one is pretty much guaranteed on stage 1. I don't know if it is, but it's a very, very, very high spawn chance, if not outright guaranteed. Just keep resetting on stage 1. You will find one. Halcyon Shrine, interact with it. It starts draining your money. Once it hits certain breakpoints, it'll spawn more enemies, and it'll make the overall fight harder. And then once you reach the maximum charge, or once you reach the first charge and beyond, you can choose to manually deactivate it. You don't have to get to the maximum. Anyway, once it is deactivated, whether it's full or whether you manually do that, you fight a Halcyonite enemy, and you kill him, and he drops a Halcyon's Blessing, I think is what it's called, or Guardian's Blessing, maybe. And depending on how many stages of the shrine that you completed, it gives you up to 3 items, and it gives you a choice as well. So I think by default, if you just like do the minimum, it's 3 choices, and you can only get 1 item. And then I would assume the mid tier is you get like 4 choices, choose 2. The final tier, the maximum, is 5 item choices, and you get to choose 3 of those 5, which is very good. But it takes quite a while, especially early on. It can take quite a while to charge it up, just given the rate of gold. Again, how this works is it drains your money to get stages. Keep that in mind. Finally, once you complete the Halcyon Shrine, you get a green portal guaranteed spawn. Pretty dang cool. That is how you access the final boss fight, or how you get to access the final boss fight. You still have to do some other stuff. So one of the secrets here is called a Soul Shrine, I believe. The Soul Shrine gives you an extra life. It's only for the current stage. So you remove 30% of your max health. It gives you a curse. It removes 30% of your max health, but gives you an extra life should you die. The Aurelionite GL, this is just the shrines that you see when you go into a green portal. I believe they cleanse you of a massive debuff. So the debuff makes you take more damage and slows you. So they cleanse you of that debuff, and then on top of that, they give you some barrier. I think it's about half of your HP they give you as barrier as well. But you do not need to interact with these. If you've been in the final stage, the Prime Meridian, to fight the False Sun, you do not have to hit these. Keep that in mind. So if you're just going fast, you're zooming through, you can just go all the way up. You don't have to hit them to hit the boss. I'm unsure of what the final interactable here is, honestly. All right, the 3 monsters. Scorchworm. These guys are super annoying. They burrow under the ground. They are untargetable when they burrow under the ground. It's like magma worms, but even worse. They have way less damage uptime. The Child is not that bad, actually. It's a very small hitbox. That's the most annoying part. Other than that, they like teleport you sometimes when they hit you, I think. And other than that, they teleport themselves the first time that you hit them. They'll just instantly teleport out. You have to go find them and kill them. It's pretty annoying. And then the Halcyonite is basically a It's basically like a golem with a whirlwind attack. They also have a beam attack. It's kind of like the Voidling, where it goes pew, pew, pew. That attack from the Voidling. They have that attack, and then they have a spinny boy attack. And then they also like do regular melee attacks. They like stab you with their sword sometimes. They're pretty cool. I like Halcyon Knights. False Sun is the boss. I have a video on the boss. You can check the link in the description below. Video on not how to kill the final boss. Not a guide just yet. But I have a full uncut fight on there. You access this guy by getting a green portal. Again, a green portal spawns from the Halcyon Shrine. I think the fight's pretty good overall, honestly. One attack is very annoying. The laser beam that he locks onto you, he's pretty fast, number one. Number two, you have to line of sight the laser beam. It is like the entire distance of the arena he can lock onto you. The beam does a ton of damage, and you have to line of sight it or you're going to die. On top of that, he can knock you back very far. So if you get knocked back and then he goes into a laser attack, you might just outright die. That's the most annoying part of the fight, for sure. Other than that, it's a pretty cool fight. It's fine. I don't think it's as cool as Mithrix. But I don't know if they were trying to make it as cool as Mithrix, but it's definitely not as cool as Mithrix, in my opinion. But it's fine. And then at the end of the fight, you have access to a new artifact. You don't have to unlock this artifact. You just get it. And then there's a shrine at the end. You hit the shrine once. It's kind of like the obliteration altar. You can choose to then continue your run through a portal, or you can choose an item in your inventory to give to the shrine. And then once you enable this artifact, I don't know what it's called. Artifact of... I don't know what it's called. I'll be honest with you. I forgot what the artifact's called. But you choose one item, and then when you choose this artifact from the regular artifact menu, you then gain that item at the start of your run on that survivor, which is kind of cool. 2 new affixes. These are talking about elite affixes, so elite monsters. This one is Gilded. Gilded enemies steal a portion of your gold on hit. I believe that's all they do. Twisted, right. What's Twisted do? Do we know? I don't know what the Twisted elites do, and they're probably really dangerous, so avoid them. I haven't seen them at all, and I played for 7.5 hours. Keep that in mind. All right, new items. This is the big part. It's probably what you're waiting for. So, common items, knockback fin. This gives you I believe it's a 25% chance on hit to knock enemies up. It says knock back, but it knocks them up, I'm pretty sure. There you go. Pretty cool. Bolstering Lantern gives you 20% damage while you're under half HP. I forget what the scaling is. I don't think it's an extra 20%. I think it's like 5% extra or something. It might be 20%. I don't know. It probably is 20% extra. That's pretty cool. Antler Shield, guys. Do not run the antlers. Do not. It's an F tier item. I already know that's the rank they're getting. They are so bad. Okay. Antlers. Deal a portion of the damage that you take back to the attacker. Problem. It scales based off of the damage that you take. So you have to take more damage to deal more damage. Slight problem with that, don't you think? On top of that, it's only a chance to activate until you get 10 stacks of the item guarantees its proc. On top of that, because it deals a portion of the damage, that means you have to take a butt ton of damage for it to actually do anything. Think about it like this. The best way I can describe Antler Shield is that even if you print 10 stacks of it, this is how it works. You get hit by an enemy, and then you deal like a third of the damage of a max damage fall-off commando shot. Think about that for a second. That is this item. Someone's going to go Antler Shield and be like, it's the best item in the game. Woolie doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, this item's crazy on Engineer, blah, blah, blah. No, it's terrible. It's terrible. Terrible item. Chronic Expansion. This one gives you 10% damage for every 5 enemies you kill. And it stacks, but you have to stay in combat. That's the big downside of this item. You have to stay in combat. And that doesn't mean just use your abilities. You have to actually hit stuff, I'm pretty sure. But potentially this one could be pretty good. It does work with Forgive Me Please, which is kind of cool. You just pop Forgive Me Please, you can get Chronic Expansion stacks. And then Warped Echo, this one basically halves the damage that you take up front and then deals that remaining half back to you after 3 seconds. It's not staggered over time. You take half damage, and then it deals the other half to you 3 seconds later. And Medkit is a 2-second activation. Keep that in mind. You can get a Medkit off, unless they have a DOT or something, then you're kind of screwed. All right, green items, Noxious Thorn. This one is like it's a 20% chance, maybe a 25% chance when you get hit to apply bleed. Yeah. Yeah, it applies 2 stacks of bleed when you take damage to the enemy. Okay. That's something, I guess. But if the enemy has a different debuff on them, it'll apply that debuff instead of the bleed. So maybe this one's pretty good. I feel like this is really bad, though. Just gut instinct, this one feels really bad. Salstar, the best item in the game. Salstar, best item in the game. This item gives you double loot from a chest, guaranteed on 1 stack, and then every additional stack gives you a plus 5% chance to get another item on top of that. This thing is crazy. So how this works is the first chest you open on a stage. It could be a chest. It could be the lockbox. It could be the blessing that we talked about earlier from the Halcyon Shrine. The blessing you get at the end, that'll also double it. And I think there's one other thing as well. But definitely chests and definitely the lockbox and the blessing. So you use this, the first stack that you have, it consumes all the stacks that you have, right? The first time you open a chest, consumes all stacks, has a chance to give you extra loot. It gives you guaranteed 2 items and then a chance to get extra based on how many stacks of Salstar. However, should you get another stack, you just get to do another chest. It's that simple. It doesn't consume it. And by consume, I mean it's like what's that item? Oh my gosh, man. I am so tired, boys. I'm sorry. Joe, this is going to be tough to edit through, man. This is going to be tough. I'm sorry. What's that item called? Oh, regenerating scrap. So by consume, I mean like a regenerating scrap. It just becomes deactivated, and then the next stage, it'll be fully up, ready to go with extra life in it. But if you consume one, you open a chest, it procs, and then you get another Salstar on the stage, you then open another chest to get the same extra loot. This means the legendary chest. Yes. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I missed a part. Hold on. Joe, I missed a part. Joe, I missed a part. This is why I record this stuff off stream, guys. This is why. An important note, and why this item is so good, is that when you open a chest, it keeps the chest's loot pool for the additional loot. So if you open a regular chest, it gives you an extra item as if you opened another regular chest. If you get a large chest, it gives you an item as if you opened a large chest. If you open the legendary chest, it gives you an item as if you opened the legendary chest, meaning it gives you a legendary item. It's that simple. Salstar. If you have a stage that has a guaranteed legendary chest and you have a Salstar, do not open anything. Save up for the legendary chest. You get 2 legendary items. Guaranteed. And then you get more, but you have more stacks. It's very good. Very good. Outright, it's already good, but with that effect alone, that makes it very good. All right, Chance Doll. This one's actually my second. That's my favorite green, by the way. Salstar, my favorite green. Chance Doll is my second favorite green. This one gives you a 20% chance to upgrade an item from a chant shrine. I don't know quite how this works, but I can tell you I got back-to-back on one stage, I think stage 6, I got 2 legendaries from the same chant shrine. Both activations were legendary. Stage 7, the same exact thing happened again. Now, the reason why I think that's happening is because I had a 57 leaf clover. And this is a 20% chance to upgrade the item. And the clover re-rolls it. So what I think the upgrade means is that if you were to get a green item from the chant shrine, it gives you a red instead if it procs, right? 20% chance to upgrade, right? If you were to get a white item and it procs, it gives you a green item instead. I'm pretty sure that's what it means by upgrade, which is very good. Very, very good. Chance Doll seems very good. And it's 20% chance to upgrade and then 8% per additional stack of the item. Luminous Shot. This one gives you, it says it gives you 150% bonus damage on your next primary ability. I think it might be bugged or I might be trolling because I swear I had a time where I was playing the Seeker and I used my utility Sojourn and I saw the Luminous Shot proc off of the Sojourn, even though the item specifically says your next primary attack. I don't know. But anyway, this one gives you essentially like a mini Royal Capacitor after you use your secondary ability. So you use your secondary ability, it charges up your next ability. It says your primary ability, and then that one deals like a mini capacitor shot, essentially. So it's okay. It's okay. I'll have to test this one a lot more, but it seems all right at best. Prayer Beads. This one is interesting. So this one, whenever you level up, you get 20% of that XP as extra stats, but it's stored in the item. And it doesn't do anything until you lose the item. So you have to scrap it or you have to print it. As soon as that happens, all the stats that are stored inside are just applied to your character. It's a little bit odd. It doesn't really have like an indicator of how much is in there. It has like a stat counter on the bottom of your screen. And I think that indicates how many levels have been stored in the item. So you can essentially think of this as extra 20% stats every time you level up. Just think about it like that. And you have to lose the item for it to do anything. And then finally, the Unstable Transmitter. This one gives you, when you reach low life, you teleport to a random location. I think that's it. I don't think it gives you speed. It doesn't heal you. I think it just teleports you away into a random location on the stage. Boom, there you go. When you reach low life. Red item, Sonorous Whispers. Sonorous Whispers, excuse me. Sonorous Whispers. This one is actually insane. This might be the best item in the expansion. This one, you kill a boss enemy, not the TP boss, any boss enemy, any Beetle Queen, any Stone Titan, any boss enemy on your screen. They give you a guaranteed extra item. It could be white, it could be green, it could be red. Any item, just give you an extra one. Boom, done. On top of that, any elites you kill have a 15% chance. 15% chance to do the exact same thing. And it works with Clover. So if you have a Clover and a Sonorous Whispers, you're just going to get a billion items on your stage. It's wild. It's wild, dude. Crazy powerful item. Very strong. Growth Nectar. This one gives you 20% increase to all of your stats. Think of that like an Irradiant Pearl. Gives you health, armor, speed, crit chance, damage, obviously, attack speed, etc. This one gives you 20% to all of your stats, and I think it's multiplicative. I do not think it is additive. So you're not getting like one syringe worth of attack speed. all your attack speed that you have, it's multiplied by 1.2 with Growth Nectar, including all the other stats as well. But to activate it, you need 5 buffs on your character. A buff is just anything in that bar above your HP. That little area above your HP, that's your buff bar. We'll call it that. Double bands, for example, the Chiaro and Renault bands, the buff portion is when they are ready to be activated. When they're on cooldown and it's recovering, that's not actually a buff. But basically anything that's there that's not a debuff is probably a buff. So you have 5 of those things on your bar, boom, you got Growth Nectar. 20% extra stats. Electric Boomerang. All right, so I've not seen this item yet, but apparently the Electric Boomerang stuns enemies and does damage. Runic Lens. This thing has a chance to fire a meteor. I think it's a 5% chance to fire a meteor when you have a hard-hitting attack. I think the harder hitting it is, the more chance you have to proc. So think of like Railgunner, right? Railgunner's M2 does a lot of damage, but it's pretty slow firing. So it has a higher chance to proc the meteor. The meteor does 2,000% damage. That's basically how this item works. The more damage you have, it's like bands on steroids, honestly. It's like an ATG version of bands, right? The ATG, it's a chance to proc. And then the more damage you deal, the higher damage. I don't know. It's a pretty cool item. I've only seen it one time, though. And then finally, War Bonds. This gives you 75 gold at the start of a stage, and it scales with difficulty, and it scales with your player level. I don't know if that's just worded like that, and it functions the same as a Gore's Tome. So the way Gore's Tome is worded is it gives you 25 gold, aka 1 chest worth of gold, but it scales with difficulty. So it always will give you 1 chest worth of gold when you pick it up, the Gore's Tome. But this one specifically says scales with difficulty and your player level. So I don't know. Does it give you 3 chests worth of gold by default, and it scales up to like 10 at some point? I don't know. Could be crazy. All right, the Lunar Anthem, Long-Standing Solitude. This one, guys, if you take this item and you go into the gold portal, 07. That's your run. 07. Long-Standing Solitude converts all of your gold gain into XP, and you gain 1 item every time you level up. Interesting concept. I don't know how powerful it will be. I feel like the gold to XP ratio is not the best. You know, like you have to get so many items to be powerful, and I don't know if that's gonna. It might be good. It might be good. I've not tested it yet. The only time I had the chance to get this, I was going to the gold portal, so I didn't want to, lock my run up. That would have been pretty bad. So I don't know what it's like. I haven't used it. It might be good. It might be terrible. It might be total bait. I don't know. All right, and then when they say boss item yellow here, this is not actually a boss item. This is an equipment that you can just randomly get. So this equipment gives you an extra life. It's consumed when you die, gives you an extra life. It's a Dio's best friend, and it sits in your equipment slot. It's that simple. And then finally here with the skins, for everyone that did not come with the DLC, so not Seeker, not False Sun, not Chef, for all of the regular survivors that were already in the game, you have to kill the False Sun specifically to get their new skin. Once you do, you unlock it, bada bing, bada boom. And then for these 3 here, you can simply get their Mastery skin by doing either Mithrix, obliterating, or killing the False Sun. All 3 of those methods will unlock their skin. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. That was a kind of a long video. I apologize. I'll say one thing here at the end here. I do not know if the difficulty scaling was touched at all, but it sure does feel like we're getting more enemies and harder enemies. I think the enemies have the same exact health and damage stats, so I don't think like the actual difficulty scaling like algorithm or whatever was adjusted. But I feel like we're getting way more, especially on like stage 3, stage 4, way more elite enemies, and a lot of them, right? So more elites specifically, and then more enemies in general. I feel like that's the case. I'll have to play more. It's only the end of day 1. But take that for what you will. It does kind of constitute to increased overall difficulty in the game. I don't know if it's true. That's just what it feels. It's a gut feeling. Gearbox did message me and say that they did not intentionally modify the difficulty of the game. So I don't know what's going on, whether it's just placebo. I remember people said for Survivors of the Void, the previous DLC, people also said that it was harder after that DLC launch. So it might be placebo. I have no idea. I've only played the new Survivors. That might be a factor. Maybe I'll do a Huntress run tomorrow and make sure that everything's good to go. See what the baseline difficulty's like. But just keep that in mind. All right, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. I'm live, twitch.tv/Woolie Gaming, and here on YouTube, same time. You can just check my YouTube channel. I'll be live 9 a.m. Central most days, 11 a.m. Central on the weekends. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you're enjoying the DLC.